What's good, guys? This is Vahagraphy. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. Before I get started on this video, guys, it is so crucial, so important for you to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and comment down below if you actually agree with me why it's so important for photographers to get the camera like a Nikon Z7 III. Is there a Z7 III coming up? The Nikon Z7 III. That'd be badass. All these influencers on YouTube, we hear from all these Chris Nichols, but he doesn't speak for all the still photographers out there that actually wanted a Z7 III. I've heard conversations coming from these YouTube stars that we don't really need, quote unquote. Nikon doesn't really need a Z7 III right now. Look, take video out of this. There are photographers, there are serious still photographers that love the Z mount and that are bought into this mount, this system, that want more from a still shooter than a Z8 and Z9 delivers. And when I say more, I mean more megapixels, better dynamic range, not necessarily a fast camera.
I wonder what Vahagraphy is gonna think of this.
No.
Vahagraphy is gonna think of this.
Something to think about, right, guys? What's Nikon up to? Love you guys. You got your camera. You got the new processor. You got the new readout, the buffer, everything stacked. For birders and wildlife, well, you still don't have a Z500, but hey, that's for another video. Nikon, you got video pretty much handled. I don't care what anybody says. Video on a Nikon is real and it's amazing. They got everything with the Z6 III. The Z8, the Z9, the things that these cameras can do internally without a recorder is something extraordinary. You got all those cameras. But now let's talk about the still photographer, that portrait, that Josef Karshes, the Josef Karshes of the world. The studio photographer, the landscape photographer, the product photographer. It's time to really think about that with the Z7 III. There's a couple of things to think about. What do we want in a Z7 III? We want higher megapixel. That's number one, right? You can't deny the fact that there are people out there, Nikon, that don't shoot video at all. You tell that GFX owner about video, he could care less about video. You tell that Hassie owner with that medium format. The point I'm trying to make is the ultimate Z7 III buyer is that ultimate photography shooter, that ultimate high-res photography landscape shooter that can give two you-know-whats about speed, doesn't need fast readout, he wants raw, maybe a 16-bit raw color. They want more than what the Z8 and Z9 offers in the still side of things. And the Z7 III should be made for this purpose. But let's think about high megapixel. Let's talk about more focus points to really to really pinpoint that area where you want focus. That eyeball, not the eyelash, the eyeball, more autofocus points. Another thing maybe we can consider is different aspect ratios. Something friendly, something printer friendly. Nikon makes great glass. Why not combine it with a camera that does more resolution than a Z8 and Z9? I remember in the community, these YouTube stars, quote unquote, were saying, we don't really need a Z6 III. The ZF is pretty much the new Z6 III now. The Z8 does it all. Guess what? We have a Z6 III. So that same community is saying, I don't know about the Z7 III. Well, I'm here to tell you, this is why we need a Z7 III. Not everybody's a birder, not everybody's wildlife, and not everybody is a sports photographer out there. They keep talking about autofocus shot tracking. We keep talking about buffer. We keep talking about readout, fast readout. Sure, you can use a Z8 for portraits. Sure, you can use a Z8 for weddings. You can use a Z8 for pretty much anything. But for those that want to go the extra mile, for those that want more out of a still shooter, for those that want more detail, resolution, the emphasis on photography. No video here, just photography. 10 frames per second, 12 frames per second, mechanical. 60 megapixel BSI dream camera. Oh, we don't need global shutter for that camera. I necessarily don't want to make a Z7 III talk about a medium format, a smaller medium format, only if I have to. Let's talk about FX. Let's work around the FX chip. New autofocus, new tracking. We want all that, right? We want all that, but we don't necessarily need readout. We don't need that fast buffer or that fast readout speed. We're not shooting sports with the Z7 III. Yeah, the Z7 III is going to have video, obviously, because it ultimately is a mirrorless camera. It's going to have your basic video features. Just because Chris Nichols doesn't think the Z7 III is needed because of a Z8 and Z9, he doesn't speak for a lot of us out there. And there are a lot of us. There you go, guys. This is the 35 1.8 lens. What do you guys think? I'm using an ND filter. See that? Can open it up just a little bit. By the way, for all you spec junkies out there, the 35 and the 50mm 1.8 Z lenses take the same size filter. Yep, I just took this off my 50 1.8, attached it to the 35 1.8, and I was ready to rock and roll. Damn it, why is Nikon disabling features when I flip out the screen on the ZF?
I wonder what Vahagraphy is gonna think of this.
One more time.
I wonder what Vahagraphy is gonna think of this.
That's about it, guys. Nikon Z7 III, that's my case. I want people to see this. I want Nikon to see this. Guys, if this is your first time here, I'd really appreciate if you like, subscribe this video. Yeah. Alright, guys. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. This is Vahagraphy on Vahag, your rock and roll photographer. We'll see you soon. Rock and roll.
Resilient, film or digital, doesn't matter the tool. Vahagraphy style, making pixels rule. Dynamic range, capture a soul in sequence. Globe trotting clicks, beyond earthly pretense. Vahagraphy.